Good morning, everybody. Welcome in the webinar of the Regional Cluster Northwest Europe. I hope you can all hear me. If not, you can put it in the chat room. So we're very happy with your attendance. I'm Annelien de Visser. I work at ILVO and I'm the co-lead of the Regional Cluster Northwest Europe. I first give you some guidelines of this webinar. This webinar is recorded. If you have any technical problems, you can put them in the chat room. Normally, you will all see on your screen a link for a chat room, and you will also see a bar to click on with questions. So if you have technical problems, put them in the chat room. If you have questions, content-related questions for our question and answer section, please put them in the question section, okay? We will try to solve all technical issues as soon as possible. Thanks. So I will first start with a short introduction about the SmartAgriHubs project, and then we will have 3 digital innovation hubs who will present their hub and share their experience with us, and we will also have some time for an interactive session and question and answers. So I will start with the introduction about the SmartAgriHubs project. The SmartAgriHubs project is a European project funded by Horizon 2020. It's a project about digitalization and innovation in the agri-food sector. The general aim of the project is to stimulate and actually to accelerate the digital transformation of the entire European agri-food sector. And there are 2 aims to do this. The first aim is to encourage and support innovative experiments, and they are called Flagship Innovation Experiments. And the second aim is they want to build and expand a European network of supporting organizations, and those are called Digital Innovation Hubs. To start with the Flagship Innovation Experiments, there are 28 Flagship Innovation Experiments in the SmartAgriHubs project, and they're all divided in 9 regional clusters. So now you're listening to the webinar of the cluster Northwest Europe, and this cluster includes the countries the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Germany. And in our cluster, we have 5 out of the 28 Flagship Innovation Experiments. 2 Flagship Innovation Experiments are dealing with arable farming, and 3 are in the livestock sector. So they're all working with drone technology and testing sensors for pig, poultry, and dairy cows. If you want to know something more about those Flagship Innovation Experiments, because that's not the content or scope of this webinar, you can always contact the website of SmartAgriHubs. I will share the link later with you, or of course you can always contact me or the lead of this cluster. I will also show our contact details later in this presentation. Now, about the Digital Innovation Hubs. What is a Digital Innovation Hub? Well, a Digital Innovation Hub is a one-stop shop. It's an organization, it's a non-profit organization, and it's there for the entire agri-food sector. So the clients of this one-stop shop can be farmers or also research institutes or other stakeholders. And a Digital Innovation Hub have to offer services, and they're related to 3 topics. It's about technology, business, or the ecosystem. A hub does not have to deliver all those services itself. They can also help you and guide you to the right company who will support you with those services. Okay? Up till now, we have a network of 140 digital innovation hubs in the SmartAgriHubs community. And the aim is to have a network of more than 400 hubs. And it's the purpose that those hubs even exist after the end of the project. Just to mention, the SmartAgriHubs project started in November 2018, and it will end in November 2022. In our Northwest European cluster, we have more than 50 digital innovation hubs, and at the bottom of this slide, you can see some examples of digital innovation hubs who are part of the SmartAgriHubs community and who are linked to a Flagship Innovation Experiment. So those hubs already support cases in the project. Of course, we also have a lot of hubs who are not supporting Flagship Innovation Experiments, but who are part of the SmartAgriHubs community. So if your company is also a digital innovation hub and you want to become part of it, you have to log in to our innovation portal. I will explain that later in the presentation. So if you need more information about the SmartAgriHubs project, you can always contact Hubert Gerardi. It's the lead of this regional cluster, or me, I'm the co-lead. And here you can see the link of the website of SmartAgriHubs. So I really want to encourage you to all go to our website. You can see here the screen, the first screen of the website. You can find a lot of information about all the 28 experiments, about the 9 regional clusters, about the digital innovation hubs. And also we have an innovation portal. You can see that on the right top of the screen of the website. You can click on portal, and then you can register yourself and make a login for the innovation portal. So here you can see the screen of the innovation portal. I'm logged in with my account, and it's very useful because here you can see the entire network of the SmartAgriHubs community. You can see all digital innovation hubs, all flagship innovation experiments, and partners who are involved in those experiments. Also, trainings are visible. We also have a calendar with new events, and also some more information about open calls will be given. So to inform you, SmartAgriHubs will also have an open call. It will be launched in July. This will be an open call for digital innovation hubs only. So, but digital innovation hubs who are already beneficiaries of the project will not be able to submit a proposal. It's only for new digital innovation hubs. If you want more information about it, you can of course always contact me or check our website and innovation portal. We also have a maturity model. That's a tool to assess your maturity as a digital innovation hub, to learn from yourself, from your own hub, okay, how many services do I already deliver and can I improve myself? You only have access to the maturity model when you're logged in and registered on the innovation portal and when you assign your company as a digital innovation hub. So first you have to make a user profile, then you make a profile for your company and assign your company as a digital innovation hub. If you have any problems by doing that, or you don't have access to the maturity model, you can of course always contact me or Hubert. Okay, so that was everything about the SmartAgriHubs project, very short. And we will now give the word to our 3 panel members. So we have 3 digital innovation hubs who will share their experience with us. It's 1 hub from Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany. Okay, they will first start to introduce themselves and give some little explanation about their business model. The first who will start is the digital innovation of smart digital farming. Unfortunately, our colleague Bart Minne could not attend this meeting due to an emergency, but our ILVO colleague Stefanie van Bijenberg will replace him. Thank you very much, Stefanie, and the floor is yours.
Thanks, Emily. So I hope everyone can hear me. I will give you some insights from our digital innovation hub in Flanders. It's called Smart Digital Farming. I don't have access to the slides. Do I wait a few moments, or can someone click for the next slide? Yeah, thanks. So our digital innovation hub is called Smart Digital Farming. Next slide, please. Once upon a time, it's started almost 4 years ago. We started a network of companies in Flanders with the aim to support them to create new data-driven business cases. ILVO is hosting the network. We have a board, a steering committee of 5 companies, and during the last 3 years, this network was financially supported by the Agency of Innovation and Entrepreneurship for 50% of the total money. Next slide, please. How does our ecosystem look like? Now, the core are the members, so the member organizations are the companies, and they have very different scales. So we have very small companies, SMEs, but also we have very big companies like Case New Holland or Engie. Apart from the member organizations, we also have partner organizations, and these partner organizations are, for example, Digital Innovation Hub in related sectors. You can see here the logo of Flanders Food or Flux 50. But it can also be a digital innovation hub in another region, like the DIG-ITfarm, or it can be competence centers. The competence centers like the universities, University of Ghent is here on the slide, but also IMEC, for example. The role of these partner organizations is to support us with providing knowledge or providing extra expertise to create the business cases. Next slide, please. If I say we have a wide range of companies, if you look at their scale, we also have a wide range if you look at the topics. So they're very diverse companies. And because of that, we found out that also the services we provided as smart digital farming needs to grow, and it went very naturally, very organic. So topics we are dealing with at this moment were also hot topics like robotics, data sharing, connecting, artificial intelligence. Next slide, please. And then there was the SmartAgriHubs project. So now we are officially a digital innovation hub. And if you look at the services and the maturity model provided in SmartAgriHubs, I think we well checked the boxes. So we have definitely the ecosystem. We support the companies on a technology basis, but also we provide business support. So we help them with creating a business model for their product or for the service that they have created. If you have a look at the business model of smart digital farming itself, I can share that the members, so the company members, they pay a fee. And this fee is a yearly fee. And for this fee, they were supported by the hub. And we try to create new business cases, as I told before. So how do we do that? We organize study days or inspiration workshops. After that, we put them together in partner matching workshops. And then if they together identify cases, we look for new partners within the network or beside the network. We added extra knowledge or competence from other competence centers, and we also look together with them for financing, mostly national and international projects. If they want extra services on top of the basic package, this is included in the member fee. This is built in time and material. Of course, we also have challenges. Now the network is growing, and as we are growing, we also need to structure things. So the very organic way of working needs to be replaced by a more structured and organized setting. I think this is my last slide, so thank you for the attention.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next digital innovation hub is Greenport, West Holland. Marga, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marga Vinkjes. I'm from the Greenport, West Holland. It's in the west of the Netherlands, between The Hague and Rotterdam. They are both members. Next slide, please. Well, the Greenport, West Holland is a cluster. It wasn't a smart agri-hub in the first. It was just a cluster. It was even legislated by our government as a Greenport, and we made a roadmap new economy for our region, and the Greenport was a large partner in it because we thought we should change or make our greenhouses more modern than they are already, but use much more digitized information. And so we became, as a cluster, also very active in a digital agenda. Next, please. Yes, and well, we became a partner of the partnership traceability and big data. We were very active there. And then we were, as a Greenport, we were a smart agri. We became a smart agri hub because of the project's smart agri hubs, and that's good because then we can develop much more, such as we are now. So next slide, please. That's more informative. Yes, as you can see here, we have already a very large ecosystem as a cluster. We have members. All the knowledge institutes of the region are members, like the Delft University and TNO and the Erasmus University in Rotterdam and the Wageningen University, for example. And but also all our governments are local governments are members, so the municipalities and the region of South Holland, the province. And then we have some large industries and companies that are members, but we do our work for everyone in the ecosystem. So if you are not a member, you still can participate in all our activities. And so the members are the more the ones who would like to pay for their membership. But that's not a good business model, of course, so we need a lot of money from the governments. As you can see, we also have other digital innovation hubs in our region, like Robo Valley, etc., with whom we have a lot of activities together. So I think our ecosystem was already very mature before we became a smart agri hub. Next one, please. But if we look to the services, and I use the information I got from smart agri hubs to find out how developed we are. If you look to the services, you can see that the ecosystem is well done. We are active in every part of the ecosystem services, especially also in lobbying in Europe, but also at our national government, for example, now in the Corona crisis. But we are still busy with our digital agenda. We have a lot of agendas as a cluster, of course. So we are not only a digital innovation hub, but we are also busy with energy, for example. Greenhouses use a lot of energy, and we are busy with plant health. But we are now active to write a digital agenda, which will also be the strategic agenda of our smart agri hub. We have some contract research. Important is Hortivation, who is what we call a PPS between TNO, which is one of our important technical knowledge expertise centers, and some companies. So we have some contract research, but not as much as we would like to have. And then we have not yet very much technology infrastructure and testing and validation. We have in the other digital innovation hub, for example, in Robo Valley, but they are much broader than only our horticulture sector. So we need also some possibilities to do this work more in our own sector. And that's the reason that we are busy with this agenda and to try to get some money from, for example, smart agri hubs or our national government to make a testing and validation center, what we call in the Netherlands a werkplaats. So then on business, that's one of our partners is the Innovation Quarter. It's the development party of the region. So they do try to help all businesses to develop. And they have also some money for startups, but they are the only ones. So it could help if we bring banks and venture capitalists in our ecosystem, and really active in our ecosystem. So I think we have two active real things to do: make a strategy, take care of technical support, and take care of money. The next one, please. That's it. The next one will come later. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Marga. So to remind everyone, if you have content-related questions, for instance, for our Digital Innovation Hub from Belgium, the Netherlands, or Germany, you can type your questions in the question box that you can see. If you have technical issues, you can put them in the chat room. Okay, our next speaker is Dieter from the German Digital Innovation Hub. Dieter, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning all together. I hope you're all fine and in good health. My company is a very old company. Please, can you send the first slide? So you see it's related to pigs. And next slide, please. We are an economic network and service provider for farmers from farmers. And we are a very old company. The first beginnings were in the late 50s. And now we are in the 2020s. And my share was about 33 years in this company. And I never had to do the same thing every year. So we are in all steps of pork production, from breeding to slaughter pigs, and we are sustained by 2,000 members and clients. Next clip, please. We have two main business fields. That is trading pigs. That's pretty new for us, the direct trading of pigs. And we sell about 25,000 breeding pigs, almost 1 million piglets, and more than 1 billion slaughter pigs. Recently, we get a new company. We merged with a new company, so the numbers will increase. And we are providing consulting services to the farmers since 1962, when the association was founded, not the GmbH. And as you see, it's pretty old. The next click, please. There's a pay model for the consulting services. Every member has to pay as person annual basic contribution. And there's a service fee for every farm unit, which is meant if you have different numbers of something like the input cost number, you have to pay a service fee because it's done differently in the units. And there's an hourly rate. Non-members can use our services too, but they have to pay more. So it's a higher hourly rate, and they have to pay the travel expenses, which are included for the members. Next slide. What you need for this task we have, it's of course competence and practical and digital questions on the farm level. That means every consultant is able to do everything on the farm regarding pigs, and he's also able to oversee the digital questions. Next slide. We have an in-house development of management apps, so as a sow planner, fattening planner, and which meet the standards of the German organized pig production. And we are market leaders in this apps. Next. And in recent times, we created an own data bank. That's a F-data bank that's called the Forza Professional, to merge and process data of the various resources you get from the farms, from the slaughtered pigs, from quality management and so on. And there's a very specific access to it. First of all, the consultants have access to the data, and the farms have access to their own data. Okay, next. And there's, of course, a CRM system and other administration tools like invoicing, logistics, and so on. Next. Well, we have chances and challenges concerning the DIH. There's still a gap between the past we reflect with our data collecting and a new planning, and that's the recent time. In this FIE, we are trying to fill this gap and to make predictions on the running production, so we can see events and disorders earlier. And so we need the advanced sensors. Next. But we have not all the resources. We have all the knowledge how to do it, but we are not able to create new sensors and so on. But we have a network to merge the information, test the results, and bring it to the market. Next. If there's anybody. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dieter. I can see that there are no questions yet in the question box. So people, if you have questions, you can always ask them. Maybe about the business model of one of our digital innovation hubs. Maybe you want to know something more about it. You have questions about the services they deliver.
There's already one question for the regional cluster lead.
Okay.
I will read it out loud. Maybe not everybody can see it. You have already a great number of digital innovation hubs within the portal with quite different approaches. How or where do you draw the line between digital innovation hubs and other kinds of organizations like competence centers? So I don't know if Hubert or Annelien can take this question.
Okay, I can first start with an answer. Hubert, of course, you can always add something if you want. Well, actually, it's a thin line indeed between what's a digital innovation hub and a competence center. But a competence center is more often a research institute giving experience, giving knowledge. For instance, in our region, we have a lot of universities. Also, ILVO is a competence center itself because we are a research institute. So, but in the innovation portal of the SmartAgriHubs, people can themselves create a profile. So first a user profile and then a profile for their company, and they can themselves assign them as a digital innovation hub or a competence center. We have a work package dealing with the competence centers, and they are checking all the companies who are registered as a competence center, just to be sure that they are really competence centers and not other organizations. For the digital innovation hubs, we also have a work package, but up till now there was no check, so it was more a self-assessment that you have to do. But there was now made a maturity model, so all digital innovation hubs are encouraged and are contacted by the SmartAgriHubs project. They are contacted and asked to complete a maturity model and to assess their maturity, and they're then contacted by the project. And in that case, we will see, okay, the SmartAgriHubs project approves that you're a good digital innovation hub, maybe with a little maturity, not that much, but that's not a problem. So, but sometimes we also have digital innovation hubs who maybe are more a competence center, and then we will contact them. Okay, I hope this will answer your question. If not, you can ask a new question, of course, in our question room. Hubert, I don't know if you have to add something.
No, it's fine. It's just to say that the digital innovation hubs, the knowledge about digital innovation hubs, it's a very different spread in Europe, and sometimes the organizations, institutions assume to be a digital innovation hub. Sometimes they assume to be a competence center, and that will develop in the future. And the digital innovation hub is much more focusing on the ecosystem, and as the word is saying, competence center, they providing special skills, special experiences, and not only focus or not so focusing on the ecosystem. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for the replies. Then the next question is more of a suggestion coming from Viorel Marin, if I say that right. It's for Dieter, saying we have developed an amazing artificial intelligence anticipation machine for any kind of disruptions or risks on the food supply chains, if you're interested.
Okay, thank you. You can see, and we have an extended quality management system. We are certified, and to improve the food safety, we are limited to the until we have to go to the trucks. And if I understand the question right, we are trying to minimize the use of medicine by creating more health in the pigsties, and to help bring management and management technology into the farms to improve the health on the farms. And it's no problem with the food stuff because we always have the AHCCP on the companies who produce food, and we are taking samples and monitor these things ourselves. Okay, is the question answered? I really don't know.
Yes, I think so, but I have 2 more questions for you, Dieter, in the question box, so I will go one by one. Okay. Is your work linked to one of Germany's digital experiment fields, DIG-ITfarm of the Landwirtschaftskammer, Lower Saxony? If so,
well,
would you say something about it? Yeah.
Well, we are independent from the Landwirtschaftskammer, but we work together with the Landwirtschaftskammer, especially on other projects. And with this experiment, we are not directly linked. But there is a good communication about that.
Okay. And the next question is, as an advisory company towards pig farmers, do you notice an increase in interests or questions from farmers towards technical or digitization tools in the last years? We have a lot of projects on agri-food tech. Is the sector also adopting these innovations? Yeah. This question is from Jarissa Masselijnen from ILVO, working on EOF.
Yes, I can only say yes. Last Friday, I contacted one of my farmers, and he asked me how far we are now with the technology to predict some things, and he was very eager to get something like that. So it's only an example, but I think there's a lot of interest because you can manage a pig barn without human eyes, human nose, human ears, but you need some help because we don't have so much people anymore in the barns. The lack of qualified personnel is very large, and so that can help.
Okay, thank you. Then I have a general question for the 3 digital innovation hubs. Did you face any challenges during the COVID-19 crisis, and how did you respond to these? I don't know if any one of the 3 digital innovation hubs wants to answer. Maybe Marga or Dieter can take.
Yeah, Should I start? Maybe. So it was of course a problem. We, as an advisor, we couldn't go onto the farms. We are just restarting now these days, but it was very difficult. But we can see what's happening on the farms in some extent on our database. We see what happens with the slaughter pigs and so on, and then we can react. On the other side, you see the problems with tonnages nowadays. So the market is very weak, and well, it's we would try to export more to China, get the money, but it's very limited, and there's a price impact by Corona, and that's not very nice.
Okay. Does any of the other panelists want to add to that?
Maybe I can add something, Eva. In our member companies, we saw two differences. On one hand, you had an acceleration in everything towards automation in administration and tools working on that. Also advisory tools from a distance, because of course our companies could not access the farms anymore. So on that part, there was a really big acceleration. But on the other hand, we see that innovation is slowing down at this moment. So companies are not so keen to start innovation projects at this moment. So although we had some workshops to engage companies and to identify new use cases, we also had some new members during this period. But you see that the innovation project, I think this will take a while before we have an acceleration there again.
Okay, Marga, you want to add also?
Yes, thank you, Annelien. Maybe I can add something. We see, of course, the same problems in the Netherlands. In our greenhouses, we grow especially flowers and vegetables and plants for the European market. So that was one of the problems, that the traveling of products was very difficult. So they lost half of their potential market. The other important thing, and that's, I think, is not mentioned yet by the others, is the use of people from abroad, especially from the Eastern Europe. So we have a lot of workers employees from the Eastern Europe who went home, a lot of them. So we missed them. We were able to work. So we had this intelligent lockdown. So industry could go on, and also our industry, but they missed their workers. So although I agree with Stephanie that there is no feeling at this moment to step into projects, I think that there will be more urgency felt later on, especially on robotics. At this moment, we have a lot of robots already developed, and they are not sold, not produced, because people do the work better and they are cheaper as the robot at this moment. But if this sort of crisis will be come more often, and our friends from especially Poland will stay home, I think the urgency for things like robotics will be felt much more. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for the questions and also for the answers. I will interrupt here and we will move on to our next topic. It's about digital tools. So first, we will listen very short to our panel members. They will all give a short example of digital tools that they might use or not use and give a reason why or why not. And after that, we will have an interactive session about that. But first, I want to ask Stephanie, can you give us an example of a tool, or what do you think about digital tools for your Digital Innovation Hub?
If you just look at the tools that we might be useful for the Digital Innovation Hub, so not for the member companies, I think as we are growing and we need to structure the organization, a tool to register all the contacts and to follow up the events we had with the companies might be useful for us. So that might be something that we are looking now to buy such a CRM tool at this moment.
Okay, thank you. Marga, are you already using digital tools, or what's your opinion?
As well, we have a different digital tools. We have, of course, the digital tools of our members. And then we have the digital tools of groups of members within the or partners or stakeholders within the cluster. Especially, we have some tools in the cloud. One of our members is a provider of tools in the cloud. So some growers give their information on their plants, on the growing of the plants, on a lot of measurements in their greenhouse to this provider of this tool, and he combines all the data with the data of the climate, for example, and so we learn much more. We have this sort of digital tools already, but it's very difficult because a lot of growers are very reluctant to share their data. Then the providers of for example, lights into the greenhouses or plant material, they also use digital tools, but it's much more how do you say that? It's not all in one cloud. Like for example, if you look at the dairy farms, there are only 2 clouds where all the important cows in the whole of Europe or the world are in, from the 2 large providers of milk machinery. And here it's all in the greenhouses, it's all very fragmented, and so we do not use the data as much as we could do. Then of course we have also the digital tools that we use as a cluster and an innovation hub, which is the most of it is of course the tool we use now. So tools to talk with each other, to have meetings, and for example, one of our meeting points, which is the World Horti Center, will go much more digital. We just built a beautiful new building to show all our innovations in greenhouse horticulture, but they are now busy to make tours, digital tours in the surrounding, for example, to show innovation, instead of people who come from China to the Netherlands to find out what we do here with our greenhouses. So the 3 levels of digital tools we really use. Yes.
Okay, thank you for your large answer, Marga. So then also Dieter, are you using tools, but we mean more tools for your Digital Innovation Hub itself to manage everything, or what's your opinion?
Well, I already told about some tools we have. It's a very broad approach to digital applications. We have these on the farm level. We have these on the breeding level. We have these on the level between farmers and advisors, and we have the upper level for the overview. I think it's absolutely necessary to use these applications, because if you don't have information, you can't say anything. The problem, well, it's not a problem, but the farmers are very have a problem with sharing all the data with other institutions who have not the interest, or which have not only the interest of the farmers in mind. So we are one of the few who are able to use data on a voluntary basis on our data bank, and the farmers have to say we are allowed to use the data and to collect the data. And I think there's a big trust of the farmers to our company that we are able to do that. And but it's our philosophy only to use these informations to the benefit of the farmers and not of others. So the applications are quite common since nowadays about 50 years, I think. Almost 50, yeah, 50 years. In the beginning of the 70s, we had the first computers in our company. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So now we will start our interactive session. You can all see that my colleague Eva posted a link in the chat room. So all go please to the chat room and open the link. It's a mural tool. So you can all go to the mural tool. I can see that there are already a few people in. You have to enter anonymously. And then you can see when you enter the mural tool that we have 4 squares, and we ask your opinion. We will work square by square. I see a lot of people are entering the mural tool. Thank you. So we will start. You can zoom in and zoom out and easily see closer all the details per square. So we will start with the customer relationship management tool. So if you double click in this square, you will be able to say something in a post-it. You double click and a post-it will appear. Please do not enlarge your post-it too much. A little bit is okay. Otherwise, other post-its cannot be added. And in your post-it, you can say, okay, yes, I think it's very important to have such a customer relationship management tool to improve your business. So you can also type a reason why you think it's important. You can say maybe to improve your business relationships, the customer relationship management tools are also for your contacts, your sales process. If you're already working with such a tool, you can also give some examples. You have, for example, Sales Cloud, HubSpot, PikeDrive, and so on, that are examples. So you can also type some examples in the tool. If you say, okay, we don't have a tool yet, but we really want some support, then you can also put a post-it below SmartAgriHubs support. If you're not typing anything or putting a post-it in the square, please remove your cursor outside the square. Then it's more, then we can see it more clear. I can see a lot of people are already typing this. We will give all this information also to the work package responsible for digital innovation hubs from the SmartAgriHubs project, so that they are aware that maybe some more support is requested. I can see someone is typing that they want some more tips about commercial tools that are available. We will pass this request to the work package for the digital innovation hubs. I can see someone, they say they are using already a CRM tool and it's very useful and key for running your digital innovation hub. So a lot of people agree that this is really essential to have such a CRM tool. And a few requests appear to have such to have more support about the SmartAgriHubs project. I can see one posted in the no section. Maybe that's an error. Someone have put it there, or maybe someone thinks, okay, no, it's not that important. You can see our colleague Eva Maas. She is also able to select your post-it and paste it in the right column. So if she moves your post-it, it's not a problem. So I think we can agree that a lot of people think such as CRM tools are important. I can see that not a lot of people are already working with it maybe. So we will definitely ask some more support from the SmartAgriHubs project and some more information about commercial tools that are available. Okay. If you have more, you want to post something more in this square, you can of course always do that. But in the meantime, we will pass to our next square, and that's a square about financial tools. So you can all move over your screen to that one and zoom in on that square, and again double click to add some post-its. So again, you can say, yes, it's important. We are already working with that. Tools for our budgeting. Maybe you have a tool to have a financial dashboard. You have, for instance, an example, a life plan tool. Are you already working with this or not? I can see that someone posted, we already have it. Maybe you can give the name of your financial tool or give an example of it. I don't know who posted this. We already have it. I can see someone says, yes, we have that for our organization, but it's not a commercial tool. I can see here an example. It's Exact is the name of the tool. Someone is currently already working with it. Okay. Do you want more support about the financial tools for this from the SmartAgriHubs project? I can see one posted over there, so we will pass that to the management of the SmartAgriHubs project. Thank you. If you have more, you want to say more things, you can still use that box, but in the meantime, we will move over to the next square. So zoom in, please, on the communication tool square. So you might need some communication tools to manage your digital innovation hubs for web conferencing, screen sharing, maybe group messaging. So you have, for instance, Teams. We at ILVO, we often use Teams. You have Workplace as another example. So if you're already using this, I think that might be a tool that a lot of hubs are already using. So please paste your examples of your tools here. Or if you need some more support, I can see a lot of people say that they are indeed already using Teams, whereby is also another tool that has been used. So if I understand well, there is really a lot of support asked from the project about the management tool, but not so much about financial tool or communication tools. So someone is now saying that they're using also Teams, and you have Team Live events for the webinars, and they're also using Mural for the workshops. Okay, thank you everyone for all the post-its. The presentation will be shared with you afterwards, and we will all send you also a print screen of those squares. And then in the meantime, I see people are already telling something in the square other. So it's a purple square. So do you have something you want to tell us? Do you need other support? You can put a post-it here. Someone is saying that we have a lot of support for the whole cluster, but not only for digital innovation hubs. And indeed, some tools should be made for digital innovation hubs themselves to manage your hub, both in a financial way, in a good communicative way, and also have good contact with all your partners. I think maybe a lot of digital innovation hubs are now managed by one person, but if you want to broaden your hub, of course, it's also very important to have a good management tool. Someone is saying that you need a tool for monitoring or get an overview of calls. Yes, indeed, that's a CRM tool, a tool for your management. That's the purpose of that, indeed. We will send this request also to the SmartAgriHubs community. That's very important indeed, that you know which partners are already contacted, what did you agree with them or not. So if you're not typing anymore, please remove your cursor from the square. Then we can see if some people are still working in it. Someone is asking a tool for an overview of project calls. Yes, that's also a very useful tool. That might be a very useful tool to have some more information about open calls, about funding opportunities. Yes. So someone is saying less tools, concentrate on existing ones. Yes, that's really the purpose. So if people are already using such a tools, they can give here also examples. And of course, we will not invent new tools, but we will ask the SmartAgriHubs project to give you an overview of existing tools and maybe some pros and cons. So someone is asking for the project call. Another person is also asking for the open calls for all members. Yes, that's really something that's really necessary. I can see a lot of people are asking for tools for open calls. Okay, thank you all very much for your input in all those squares. The Mural tool will not be closed yet, so we will move on with our presentation. But if you want to say something or paste another message with a post-it, just do it, and we will read all the messages afterwards and pass them to the SmartAgriHubs project. So we have a work package specifically for digital innovation hubs. I also want to mention that there is another Horizon 2020 project, IOF 2020, and they are closely working together with SmartAgriHubs. Next week, they have actually 3 webinars about digital tools. So if you want to know something more about it, you can go to the website of IOF 2020 or contact me or Hubert to have more information about this. Those webinars will be about digital tools. They will now test all those tools and give information about it. And a lot of digital tools that are invented in use cases by IOF 2020 will be available at the beginning of next year, 2021, and will be publicly available so everyone can use them. Okay, so if you need more information, you can, of course, contact us. So, in the meantime, we go to our last topic. So it are some success cases of our digital innovation hubs. The first digital innovation hub is again Stephanie from Smart Digital Farming. The floor is yours, Stephanie. Can you give us an example of a success case of your digital innovation hub?
Yes, I have several. Can you give me the next slide, please? I think the biggest success of our Digital Innovation Hub, Smart Digital Farming, is that for a lot of companies, this was the start towards digital innovation. So they really make the transition from delivering products like a harvester to really connected services, a connected harvester with a digital advice tool. Can you give me the next slide, please? Okay, thanks. During the process of supporting companies and looking for success stories, we also found out that some services were missing, and especially in adding those services that could help the companies really with their needs, we found that we had the most success. One of these things was that if you look at our ecosystem, we were lacking farmers. So the end users were not present in the ecosystem, and that's why we created Living Labs. So in this Living Lab, we could really stimulate the co-creation, and new services that were developed by our companies could be tested by the end users. Good examples of this are the Flagship Innovation Experiments running in Flanders in SmartAgriHubs project. The second thing is that we found out that our companies were not working only for Flanders, but we have an international scaling, and we need to support the companies in this international scaling. Now, the second picture is a good example of that. So this is a small company who in Flanders who was already active internationally because they did transport, but because of the help of Smart Digital Farming, they were able to enter the first time in a big European project, IOF 2020. A third thing that we found out is as we were running more use cases, data-driven use cases, the companies also found out that they need a data sharing infrastructure. And every company on its own was not able to create such a data sharing infrastructure. So that's why we stimulated and try to find money to that all companies could invest together in what's now Just Connect, so a data sharing platform where the companies are in full control of their data transfer, but also the farmers are. So it's up to the company and also the farmer to decide whether or not to transfer the data and to share the data with other partners in the ecosystem. So because of the help of our Digital Innovation Hub, we were able to make the investments together, and we are now able to transfer data on a really performant way and also a really safe way. And it's a good example of putting the code of conduct into practice. So we're very proud of our success stories. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Marga, can you now give us an example of your Digital Innovation Hub?
Yes, certainly. Can I have the next slide? And another one, yes. Okay, well, one of the successes is that we are in a project, in a COSME project, the TRACK project, which has a webinar at this moment also. It's TRACK Growing Data. It's about small SMEs that are in digital activities, and they want to try to penetrate the horticulture market, to bring their solution to, for example, to growers or to logistic companies. We have 16 companies, small SMEs that are trained to get into this activity and to get also international, and they met each other also. So this is a nice project. It will last until October. One other project is the Ideal Greenhouse Lab. It's one of a test location we had. It had some ENRDF subsidy, but funding. So, but it it's finished, and this is one of the reasons that we would like to bring a new test lab, because it was working very well. It was all about sensors, different sensoring in a greenhouse, and then using the data and working with the data by students from vocational schools who did the more well, vocational type of work, like reading the data, setting them over, take care of the sensoring, and on the from an applied university, and they did the work with the more the large data sets. So it's what we call a learning community. So it was beautiful, but it finished, and we want to start up it again with this testing facility, but also others. We do start some trainings, very different trainings, international, but also in our own community. And in our community, you see very different levels of using data and the way of using it. So we also have some awareness trainings. We have had some awareness trainings on digital security, cybersecurity, because we had some companies who had problems with that, of course, like everywhere. So they have to be aware and to learn about this. So, and others, we had the trainings on a very high level on blockchain, for example. And then in October, it was planned in April, but of course this was not possible. In October, we have a big RoboCrops meeting with the people from all over the world in our World Horti Center in our region, and this is a working together of TNO, Innovation Quarter, and also the other Digital Innovation Hub, Robo Valley, and people will come together. There will be hackathons, etc. So, but it's not organized by me. Everything that's only the track project is organized by me, but all things are organized by people within the hub. So one partner within the hub is active with others for another group of partners. So it's the community who does the work itself, and the only thing we have to do is bring it together, take care of that it won't be doubled, and take care that it will be more and more developed, etc. But we do a lot of things already. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marga. Dieter, it's your turn now. The floor is yours. Oh, Dieter, you're still muted.
Okay, now it's better, I guess. Well, I focus on the FIE we make. Please, can you, the first slide. And another click. Well, we have to use the sensor practically, and it was able to detect some disorders and events in advance. Perhaps for an example given was water supply. Please have a click, and you see the results of the water consumption. On the left side, you see some regularly outtake of water. Then you see a flat curve. That means there's no water running. And then you see the repair and the better going on. What's the realistic way to give water? So you can see quite easily the problems in the water supply. Next, please. We found out that the transmission of the sensor data is possible, but not every barn has a Wi-Fi connection. So if you go by phone, it's some places it's very well. It's not very good connected, and you can't send the data to the data bank, and That's not sometimes a problem, but it's in principle it's possible. Next. Well, and we found out that artificial intelligence is extending the time for prediction, and you see in the curve above there was a change in the water supply before something really happened with the animals. Next. Well, that's a big problem. The sensors are not very, sometimes are not very stable in this environment of a barn, and this has to be improved. Next slide. You see here two sensors on the main, the central ale. It's for humidity and temperature. Well, and they are clean, they are without problems. But if you go into the compartment, next one, you see the problem. That's a board of different sensors. And just imagine high pressure cleaning and disinfection. And you see the problems. And there has to be an improvement of the how reliable these sensors are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I can see we have one more question. So if you have more questions, you can type them. I'm sorry, the webinar took already a little bit longer, but this is the last section now. We have our final question and answers.
There are no questions yet. Yeah, I can see, but there are no questions yet.
We had one question from Karsten, I think, that we did not answer yet.
On the previous section, yes. It's a question from Dieter. Which data to collect, and do you provide aggregated by artificial intelligence as an API?
It's on the FIE, or is it on the general collection of data on the farms? So I really don't.
I'm not sure.
well,
Karsten, if you have
with both. So first of all, on the farms, these are the production data, economically and biological, and they are brought to the central evaluation, and they are used for the just-in-time consulting. Also, there are the data from the slaughter pigs, and there are the data of quality management and so on. Concerning the sensors in the barn, it's temperature in different regions in the barn, in the compartment. There are humidity, and there are gases, and there's light as data to be collected. And you see on the last slide where I showed the water consumption, there on the right side a lot of curves you can click on for the different sensors. So it's a large broad view on the ecosystem in the barn, in the compartment. So I hope the question is answered.
Yes.
Karsten asks, is it accessible from the cloud for the farmers?
Yeah, but not for the slaughterhouses, not for the retail stores, only for the farmers and the advisors.
Okay, I think that's clear. There are no other questions, so I give the word to Annelien.
Yes, okay, thank you. So thank you all for attending this webinar. Also a great thank you to the communication team of SmartAgriHubs, to my ILVO colleagues, to Hubert for helping with organization of this webinar. And of course, thank you to our 3 digital innovation hubs for sharing their experience and their knowledge with us. So thanks for attending. If you have more questions for us about our region, about our hubs, you can always contact Hubert or me. Thank you very much. Bye.